All right, so a lot of politicians are coming out against Israel now. It's almost like opportunism, and it's a bit strange, but it's too little, too late. And what's going on there is just horrendous. And if you don't know, because you're cloistered in some mainstream news media, that can't help you. But the situation there is horrendous. There should be a massive freedom flotilla of 1,000 boats taking aid and food to Gaza. If Trump's honest about what he's saying, maybe he could do something, but I don't think he will. Apart from that, it's impossible to tell what's going on now. No one can get in there. If you get in there, you'll get shot as a press person unless you're embedded with the IDF, and they will show you what they want you to see and nothing more. And there won't be any proper reporting on this. And this all started way back in I guess it was the first Gulf War, maybe the Iraq War, where they said reporters can only go there if they're embedded. And so reporters who are supposed to put their lives on the line, it is called, what is it, the fourth estate? Some reporters who are willing to do so, to some extent under huge protection from their own organisations, are supposed to go to dangerous places and show what it is. It would have been better if reporters could be inside Gaza, showing us what's going on. And if there's all these wonderful places around there with bustling markets and children skipping to school and students studying in their in the cafes for their exams, etc. The jolly street vendors shouting on the side of the street, the fat policeman laughing with someone on the street corner. Show us all that, and the wonderful, beautiful buildings around. The IDF could take that video if it existed, but it doesn't. It doesn't exist. The place has been destroyed. People are starving. And now some politicians seem to be trying to turn coat, basically. And so what's going to happen now, we don't know. It's horrendous. Personally, if I try to remind myself about it from time to time, I'm like, well, this is not really much of a world, is it? Where the whole world just lets people starve like that due to some other person's actions. It might be different if it was a mass drought and for some reason you can't get aid in there. Maybe that'd be different. Not for very long though, right? People would start going crazy if there was a drought in Africa or something and people were starving, literally, right? Massive starving. So people would do something about it. But now, in this case, you can't because the IDF is so belligerent. So you need an army to go in there and take down the IDF. You have to. So other than that, Israel's going to fall into chaos because it can't live with what it's done. It won't be possible. And the point is, what's going to happen next? We don't know. But a lot of politicians seem to be changing. Maybe that will lead to something in terms of calling Netanyahu a war criminal and all that. So maybe that will lead to something. I'm not holding my breath. I wanted to be on the Freedom Flotilla, but there's no practical way for me to get there. Or you can't even go. You're not allowed to go because there's only one boat. You just get in the way. So I'd call for a massive Freedom Flotilla of 1,000 boats. And if we lived in the world that I wish we lived in, Donald Trump would order US Navy patrol ships to protect that flotilla. But that's just dreaming. And then you've got that whole situation with Trump. I won't get into that here, but I'm just trying to talk about Gaza right now. I wanted to make a short video. I don't have any big points to make except to ask, what do you think is going to happen now? Very interesting time with Trump sidling up to these Arab nations. Some of them are monarchies. Others are Islamic states, which that doesn't mean that. They're not like the Jewish state, which declares itself a Jewish state and allows millions of Jews from around the world to come into its country and take the land from the indigenous Jews and the indigenous Palestinians, right? So, with their money, their power, and connections. So literally 3 million people, I think it is, since 1950 have come into Israel or more, come into that region. So what I would call for is, what I hope for in the ideal world is somehow, and I don't know how that happens, the whole of Israel to go back to where it was when I was there in 1986, right? Where there were no walls, no fences, one state solution, a democracy from river to sea, all of it in one country under a different name, not a sectarian name. So I'm not sure what that name should be, but I'm the one that's proposed it, and it's the only answer. A democracy. Take down the walls, take down the fences, and you can call it a democracy right now, but there's 2 giant reservations there where people are barely allowed in and out, right? So it's not really a democracy. And some years it was more freedom of movement, other years it was more clamped down, and now it's just completely clamped down. And Gaza has been an open-air prison for years, according to the United Nations, for years before any of this happened, this recent blow-up. And so, one big country, one state solution, and that's it. From ocean to the River Jordan, from Lebanon to Egypt. The whole thing, one big country, like it was when I was there hitchhiking around on my own in 1986. Wonderful country. But change the name. Just a democracy, and change the sectarian name. Grow up. Grow up. If you can't see that that's your problem, is that you have a sectarian name to the place. It'd be like renaming Britain, I don't know, Scotland or something, the whole of Britain, Scotland or something. It's worse than that, because Scotland is not a religion, right? So get rid of the religions, all these cults, change the name, democracy, river to sea, and that's the only solution. Otherwise, it's just going to crash. And so I have to now go to the second point. The most likely scenario, Israel itself is going to go into collapse. Gaza is going to be horrible, beyond a nightmare, unless the West and China and Russia work together and get in there right now. But global warming is coming. It's going to hit hard this summer for all those countries, and you won't be able to desalinate enough water to make up for it. But even without that, Israel, Netanyahu is going to be chased down eventually by the Israelis themselves, or fired and then chased down by others. I hope he is. He needs to be brought to justice. And but none of this is going to happen. I'm not naive. We live in this terrible, ineffective, global society, completely lost in a kind of a state of delusion and coerced into all sorts of stupid actions and ways of living, and sort of fascism, even in the Western world, right? Especially in the Western world right now. Not because of Trump, by the way. No, this has been going on for years now. He might actually be better in that regard, except that he's trying to deport people who probably shouldn't be deported, right? But that's people are outraged about that, and they're quite right, because it's a break in civil liberties. It's a break in what America has always pretended to be, but never really has been, right? But at least it was a pretense that you could live up to, a beacon on a hill, even though it was, when you get to the beacon, you find it's actually just it's just a big star in the distance that doesn't, it's not, or something, I don't know. It's not really the beacon, it's not at all. And so with Trump trying to deport these people, it's very harsh, but it's tiny compared to some of the other injustices going on in America for years now, right? And yeah, I hope that whole period just drifts away, because something like that happened at the beginning of Trump's first term, and it just faded away in a few months. ICE will become less, and ICE, the immigration control police, will be curtailed. So this it's terrible because it talks about civil liberties. But you want to talk about civil liberties? Well, I can give you a history lesson about America. However, it's pretty bad for those people going through it, but it does seem to be sort of working out for most of them. It's a tiny issue blown up across the news media. But yeah, it'll resolve itself is all I'm saying. But this thing with going back to Gaza, what I'm saying there is it's not a fascist state in America. Not really. It was worse under Biden, for example. And states' rights probably have survived. You do get these massive states doing crazy things like California and New York State. Putting down crazy sort of laws now, it seems like. But anyway, it's not really a fascist state yet. It's unlikely to become that. However, what's going on in the Middle East now is what we're interested in, what's going to happen next. So I think it's going to be a horrendous summer. I'm trying to be positive. You can't. And the question is, people don't care until, a lot of people, quite rightly, they've got to get on with their lives. Don't really care until it comes home to them. I don't think it'll come home to them in the same way, some terrorist bombing or something like that. So what Trump's doing in the Middle East now is trying to make friends after years of antagonism, and in a sort of very outward way, by saying things like the old system of America and the West oppressing these countries. Not really oppressing them, I know there's a lot too much detail to get into there, but some of those countries just been told what to do, basically. He's making a big show of that now. Let's see if that comes to anything. I'll only be impressed with Trump when he actually takes the US military to Gaza to push the IDF out and feed people. That's the only thing I'll be impressed by in this topic. Other than that, shaking the hands of the the terrorist, whatever his name is, Giuliani in Syria. I think Trump will change on that, by the way. I think he's just playing the friendly, magnanimous leader right now. But I think he'll change on that the leader of Syria and Syria in general. But there's no solutions there. Israel's not strong enough to start expanding into what people are calling they called Greater Israel. That's not going to work. So there's not going to be an attack on Iran. I don't think so. There might be a small attack by Israel because they think there's some nuclear thing that they can hit without blowing the whole place up. So they'll probably hit infrastructure that is crucial to nuclear production. But there won't be a full-scale war. That's my prediction. A lot of people are going crazy over that there's going to be a full-scale war. And a lot of people think all of this friendliness that Trump's doing is in order to hide the fact that behind the scenes, the whole military-industrial, political, Zionist complex in America is going to attack Iran. I don't think it is. I think Trump will stop it. He's done it before. He's stopped warmongers before. When he sort of plays them along a bit, like John Bolton in his first term, who wanted to invade Venezuela and Iran. So he plays them along until he can't take them anymore or can't do that anymore, and he just fired them. So I was impressed by that. So he plays people along a lot. That's what you have to understand. He'll play them along until, in a way that the words he uses sounds like he's a terrible person, but he's just playing them along until he can fire them, until he fires them if they don't go in his direction. So hopefully that's what's going on. I doubt there'll be an attack on Iran. I hope to heaven that I am not wrong about that. Because if that happens, a full-scale war is what people are worried about. It's not going to happen. If anything, the worst thing that's going to happen in the Middle East right now is, well, first of all, Syria won't hold it together, I don't think. And certainly Israel will probably collapse financially and thereby socially. I mean, I don't know. There's so many super rich Israelis or super rich Jews around the world. They might just funnel money to them themselves to keep their society going at least. But with that death camp, that extermination camp, and what we call with the Nazis, genocide camp, or this extermination camp on their border, it is far worse than anything the Nazis did, in the sense that it's a huge area of destruction. Not in the sense of numbers, I suppose, numbers of deaths, but in the sense of the area of destruction. Now people starving and no hope in sight for them. Nothing I can do about it. I've thought of everything under the sun. I can't do anything. And a lot of us are hugely frustrated by that around the world. There's nothing we can do. I mean, you tell me. So with that death camp, massive destruction, people starving, people dying of injuries that they incurred from Israel. And when you have a population like that, people are getting injuries just walking around in the rubble trying to find something, So it might not be much, but it could be a really nasty gash that goes septic and the person could die. So there's masses of deaths going on right now from starvation, malnutrition, starvation, injuries from war, injuries from just living in a place like that, and just massive deaths going on right now in this extermination camp. So I don't know what Israel can do Israel can't go in and start feeding. Oh, we're sorry we killed all your children and your family and your parents and all that. Oh, we're so magnanimous. We're giving you food. We're going to keep here's all the medical aid. Oh, aren't we so magnanimous? I don't think the Gazans will care about that. Will respect that for very long. So they can't do it. An international body needs to do it with military engaged against the IDF if necessary. It's the only way. You can try to think of other ways. It's not going to work. This whole thing of, well, there'd be a great ceasefire and then Israel can go in and help everybody. It's not going to work. So that's the situation we're in. It's an interesting time with Trump going around making friends with all the Arab countries. I actually, literally, the day after he got elected in 2016, have a post, and I still have it, where I'm saying, I think Trump will do this, that, and the other. It won't be that bad. And then he'll go visit Putin, and he'll go visit Assad, which I wish he'd done. I wish he'd done that, gone to visit Assad at that time. Because Assad was the better solution. All these stories of atrocities are not provable. No different than all the other atrocity propaganda of the past. Very, very few of them are provable, or it could just have been made up. There's a tiny portion you might be able to say, yeah, that might be true, but yeah, I mean, it's and certainly no worse than what was going on in Israeli prisons, for example. Now we find out. So the future is coming in the next couple of weeks. How this will unfold is what I mean, is because it's very important to the world how this all unfolds. Next month, within a month, we have to have an international rescue mission, push the Israelis aside, and you don't even need their help because they won't help. They've proven that, and you can't trust them. So just a massive, military operation to save the Gazans. Let's do it. I mean, it's not going to happen. I'm not naive, but that's what I wish would happen. Other than that, we're just going to live as a human race who let it happen. Like a ghost in the background. Is that what you want? This ghost that will haunt you and your children forever. You'll be able to hide from it in your mind a little bit, but not for long. Not forever. And it will eat away at you, especially once the whole truth starts coming out, right? Do you think during World War II or after World War II, because a lot of Germans wouldn't have really known what was really going on back then, so they start to realise, do you think it didn't haunt them once they realised the scale of the Holocaust, right? And how wrong they were? Do you think that didn't haunt them for a generation at least? So that's what's going to happen to you and all of us, because we can't do anything. But at least some of us tried to call for something to change. And there's nothing I can do. I've tried everything. I mean, my representative is Bernie Sanders, and he has been speaking out, and now he's much more forceful. It's too little, too late. But at least he would be... there's nothing I can do to persuade him to speak out, because he's already doing it. So there's not much I can do. I think it's just fascinating to see where we go. And tragic. I think it's going to be tragic, is what I'm trying to say. It's going to be horrible this summer, with a bit of a drought going on. There's a drought going on in Israel and parts of the Middle East. I'm not sure that's going to just disappear this summer. That'd be manageable, just about manageable in a normal times, right? But not now, with 2 million people in that death camp without enough water, food, nutrition, and medical aid. You'll be too busy putting out your own fires in your own country, which has already happened, or just trying to stop people from overheating, or the crops from failing, or whatever it is, because of water shortages in your own country. And no, desalination is not going to be enough to make up for it at this point. So yeah, you've got global warming hitting Israel, the Middle East, that part of the Middle East, this year, this summer, and you've got a prison camp, an extermination camp right there, that the people who are supposed to be the prison camp guards are the people most hated by the people in that prison camp now. So, sorry, but I'm trying to think of something positive here, but it's going to be horrible. There's nothing we can do. And it will be like a festering sore in the Middle East now because of Netanyahu. Hunt him down, please.